I might have muted myself there. I might have been unmuted the entire time. Thank you, Movie Gong. I appreciate that. I'm glad to be back as well. Well, I don't think my dog agrees. Yeah, there's not many of us, Gary. That's enough fucking shite music, let's get into it. It's a quick one, I need to remember, be on my toes here. Well, hello and welcome to this Tuesday's Movie News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh. On my lonesome, my co-pilot Stephen. Fucking muted myself. I've muted myself. My co-pilot Stephen, as I was saying before I rudely interrupted myself. Sometimes the pilot has got his toes up. He's sitting toasty around the corner. He's off for the tonight. And it's me here to discuss the movie news. And that's generally what we do here. That's what the MN there stands for. MN, movie news. We ditched the movie news because we felt it was a bit excessive. You should really know what MN stands for. Appreciate the comments already, thank you very much. Moving on, because I did say we missed the live shows as well, but sadly, leading up to Christmas, me and Stephen work full time. We have full-time jobs, and this is a hobby, a side thing. YouTube, Google, don't pay us enough to make it a job. I wish it fucking was, believe me, but they don't pay us enough, so this is a hobby. So we had to cut something, and we went where the views were, to be quite frank, which was the watch-along reactions. And hello Gary, Warren Chandler as well, thank you for coming in. I'll get into that in a moment. Just want to say, this is what we do here. We speak about movie news in case there's someone new coming in who can understand what I'm saying. We speak about movie news, all of the goings on in the world of Hollywood. Sometimes in the world of Collywood, Tollywood, Bollywood as well. Sometimes even K-dramas sneak in to the channel and we speak about them. We love cinema from all over the globe is what I'm saying. But 9 times out of 10 it is Hollywood because it's easy and there's a wide array of fucking publications at our midst to give us the news in which we want to speak about for the next however long it's going to be. Nice shield, thank you very much. I like the shield as well. Could have got a metal one though, and it would have looked even fucking better. Although the light, the incredibly bright moonlight that is toasting me alive just now, I feel like Neil Armstrong in the 60s, probably would glow the whole fucking camera out of the room and you wouldn't be able to see it. We'll get into this. The Batman. Yes, Matt Reeves has been out. And he's been speaking about the upcoming Batman, just 10 days away. It's hard to believe. I have been speaking with Stephen and various other individuals on the camera, behind the camera, off the camera, whatever you want to fucking say, about this movie for over 2 years now. I want to say it was over 2 years since Robert Pattinson was cast. To a lot of consternation, a lot of people weren't in favour of this man's cast, and they've obviously not looked into his back catalogue of amazing zany movies that he's touched upon, the talent he's worked with, the career he has carved out post Twilight has been very impressive. So I was on board for this. Certainly Christian Bale was on board for it when he was asked his opinion on the casting. He says he's a different zany kind of actor, paraphrasing heavily here, and he will smash it out the fucking park. This movie's 10 days away. I cannot wait to go and see it. People are already getting to see it. Neymar got to see it in Paris, I believe yesterday, with the cast, the lucky Brazilian bastard that he is. And of course there is a little bit of, how shall I say, negative thoughts getting manifested into the universe regards this movie on another channel today. I seen it, the review embargo apparently not being dropped until very, very late in the day before this movie comes out to the general public. And that channel, I'm presuming I didn't actually watch it, maybe speculating that may be a bad thing for this movie, that they may be leaving it so late so as to not dampen the excitement, the anticipation, the bums on seats going to watch it. I'm going to look at it from another viewpoint. They know what they've got here, and they don't really need the press, Rotten Tomatoes, any of those fuckwits coming in to bum the movie up. They know they've got something special, and they're just leaving it late because they don't need the reviews, they don't need the positive word of mouth. Matt Reeves has built the word of mouth with the cast that he's produced. Zoe Kravitz, Robert Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright, Colin Farrell, Paul Dano. It's all there, man. You've got a Skarsgård in here. But that aside, 10 days away, the man rightly not wanting to get drawn into discussions about a sequel. He's not even got the fucking first movie out yet. Why would they want to be speaking about a sequel, of course? But this is what I had to say. I'm going to read off this monitor because I cannot use my eyes to read off of that incredibly small quote on that monitor. So I'll look over here, and this is what he had to say on it. He was speaking with Los Angeles Times in Espanol. Not speaking in Spanish. He says, I think the first thing is a very long nap. And here's the thing, my feeling in doing the film was always that I would never treat it as a chapter 1, because chapter 1 assumes that there are more chapters. That could be double-sided there from Matt. Maybe he's concerned there may be a lack of chapter 2 because the movie bombs. It could be that he has no interest in doing a chapter 2. He may pass it off to someone else. Time will tell. Because chapter 1 assumes there may be more chapters. So what I wanted to do was make this movie a satisfying experience so that people could experience a new fresh version of a character that the world has loved for over 80 years. That's what I'm excited for with this man's take on this movie. The different look into the character, maybe shying away from the brawn, more to the brains of Bruce Wayne. That's not to say we're not going to get the brawn, because we've seen it in the trailer. He was beating the shit out of people in that trailer. That's probably the most violent I've seen Batman ever. But by all accounts, Matt wants to go down the more cerebral detective side with the character. So that's the thing that's intriguing me most with his take on this story. Having the balls to put in multiple villains, having the balls to make it a fairly youthful Batman, fairly green-nosed, not been in Gotham doing his thing, his vigilanteism for more than a couple of years. A different take on it. It excites me. He's went on to say, I think that if we succeed in that front, I'm sure you will. I know that I have a lot of stories I want to tell. And then we'll do chapter 2. Well, that's kind of contradicted what I says, that he's perhaps not getting interest to carry it on after this. I think he has. But not because we didn't make this one a complete experience. So let's just see what happens. Let's see the audience watch it. I hope they connect to it. And if they do, then yes, there's definitely more to do. And I will not be napping for too long. Well, I'm going to press that little macro there. Look, this is sensible. In a world where everything is instant gratification, in a world where it's a TikTok generation, it's absolutely fine. I went down rabbit holes on TikTok as well. Concentration level of no more than 5 seconds. You don't want to be rushing and making the wrong mistake here. You don't want to be rushing into a sequel in a sense just to give that instant gratification to this new generation. You want to be sensible, you want to take your time, you want to marinate in the creative juices. If this movie's a success, you want to connect with the actors, the likes of your Pattinsons, your Wrights, see what their input is, where they want to perhaps evolve their characters moving forward. Let that all marinate, and then you put the script into existence, then you make the movie. If you're rushing everything just at the whims of a studio, because Lord knows we've seen it with Sony, they've announced that we're getting an Uncharted, they are celebrating an Uncharted franchise. By all accounts the movie is average, but it's made money at the box office and they want to rush in and get it out ASAP. We've seen it with Jumanji, Sony as well. Don't fall for that. Take your time. Even if the movie's a flop, so be it. You move on, it's done. It's not even in the conversation. If it isn't a flop, if it's a success, people are yearning for more, still take your fucking time. I'll get to the comments in a moment, because Taika Waititi was speaking about the pandemic, how it was giving them a chance to breathe, and how that was making the movies for him, the process of making the movie all the more enriching, and hopefully the movie all the better for it. I don't mind them taking time. I don't mind it being a year, 2 years, 3 years until we see this second instalment of the Batman. It's a good thing for me. It means they're doing it right. It means he wants to get the story right. So be it, Matt. I've not got any issues with it whatsoever. The movie Gunk. Yeah, but if Reeves and Pattinson haven't signed on for sequels, then the power isn't with the studio. That's true. I presume they have signed on. Robert, in his case, I think he signed a multi-picture exclusivity deal with Warner Bros. It's Warner Bros, isn't it? To, I think, production, more producing. I think he's maybe doing a side job producing movies. But he's nice and cosy with Warner Brothers. And look, if Matt's created anything coherent here at all, if it's at least a watchable Batman movie, you've got a youthful cast there. I'd be very surprised if Warner Brothers don't want to continue the story with Robert Pattinson. He's a guy that's got a huge fan base, both female and male, for perhaps different reasons. I'd be stunned if they don't want to continue it on. Dano is who I'm looking forward to seeing the most. Such an amazing and versatile actor. I absolutely agree with you. I was delighted when I heard he was cast as the Riddler. He is a stunning actor, much like George Mackay, who I can't get enough of either. Watching this sort of relatively youthful, not too old, not too young, just in the sweet spot actor that's coming into his prime and really getting meaty roles. I think the Riddler is the main villain in this. You've got the Penguin here, but I don't think he's the main villain. You see from the trailers, it's all about the Riddler. He is toying with the very youthful Bruce Wayne. He's in his head. He's maybe seen the contradictions of this guy walking out of churches with your Falcones and your Penguins, and then he's seen the vigilanteism. Maybe he knows of his alter ego, and he's toying with him, and I like that. It's better than Jim Carrey's, and I love Jim, but his Riddler was campy. I never want to see that fucking question mark leotard ever again in a live action setting. I'm sure Reeves was talking about a trilogy at one point. He was, that's what I assumed. I assumed we were getting a trilogy, Gary. I thought that was confirmed, but he's talking about just me. And look, that's another aspect. He's just want to make a right good standalone experience first and foremost that fans, the audiences will connect with and enjoy as a standalone experience. Again, modern day studios these days, they want to interconnect everything. They want to blossom franchises out of nothing. They want to create expanded universes that all interconnect, which is nice when it's required. With this, it isn't required. What we need is a right good Batman movie. We've not had a proper Batman movie since Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. To think about that there, I went to see that in the IMAX, and that was what, 10 years ago, something like that. It was a long time ago. So we're over a decade out from having a proper Batman movie, a standalone Batman movie. I don't count Dawn of Justice. That was a fucking half house. We didn't get proper Superman, didn't get proper Batman. We got an ensemble blockbuster before it was earned. So just make a right good Batman movie first and foremost, and then we'll take it from there. Absolutely believe that we'll get a trilogy if it's good, and I assumed there was a trilogy. Who here is looking forward to seeing Keaton and Batgirl? I didn't know that was happening, man. Didn't even know that was happening. There you go. Is Keaton coming into Batgirl? I heard they were filming Batgirl in Glasgow, home city, so that's interesting. I'm not even switched on to Batgirl. There you go. 10 years. Is it 10 years? We were there. Stephen, if you're in the chat under the Movie Burner account, 2011, wasn't it? Something like that. Dark Knight Rises. Fucking scary, man, how quick the time goes. I've just turned 33. I was a youthful 20-something back then. And fuck, I look 33 now. I don't look anywhere near as good as I did back then. But yeah, it's been too long since we've had a Batman movie. It's been too long since we've had a Superman movie. We need a good outing, and then we can take it from there and start talking about sequels. So once again, I think it's a sensible thing from Matt Reeves to be hedging his bets, not getting ahead of himself. Let's make this one work first, and then we build on this a solid foundation, if you'd like. Speaking of Paul Dano, though, I'm going to quickly touch on a couple of things relating into the Batman. Paul's been out speaking about the villains. Maybe not just the villains. Yeah, it is the villains. I'm pretty sure it was the villains he was speaking about, the superheroes. And how, no, I think it was the uniqueness of what Matt's crafted here. He was speaking about 2012, 10 years. He's out speaking about the uniqueness of what Matt has gave us here with this movie, and why, maybe how it connected with him, I don't know. I'm going to look around the camera here because this setup is just diabolical. Try to read the quotes. And this is what Paul says. You want to dig into the history and the iconography of the archetypes and all the energy that's there while charting their own path, which was most important for this movie, this film. And luckily Matt in his script brought a true point of view and something that I haven't seen before in not only a Batman film but in a superhero film. So scary, yes, but exciting. I like to see that. I like to see that it's scaring them, because that means they're taking risks. They're not comfortable. They're not in a nice little cotton wool ball wrapped up not taking chances. When you take risks, yes, it could be an absolute disaster, but the payoff, if it's a success, is so much better than what you get with a Rise of Skywalker, which is just safe, unadventurous, disastrous for me. Matt connects with this character. I says it from the moment it was announced he was doing the movie. I was disappointed Ben Affleck's script get ditched, but he slapped down the Golden Years comics. I think it was the first, 5 years of Batman comic strips. He slapped it down the table, took a photo of it on Instagram and says, "This is what I'm doing." And I says to myself right away, this guy knows the fucking character. He's a fan of the canon. He's going to give us something special here. Everybody who has been involved in this movie says the atmosphere behind the scenes was electric. It was like a Pixies concert. They were bouncing off each other. They loved it. Apart from Robert, when he was apparently doing the voice, at one point he got told to ditch it because it was a disaster, rethink it. But in the main, they seem to love it. There was an energy behind the scenes. I think this movie is going to be fucking special. I really do. Now, I was going to touch on this. This was Jeffrey Wright, but you know what? I'm not going to bother. But needless to say, Jeffrey's coming out and saying that, yeah, it's an 8-year franchise. He's speaking about the positives of superhero movies, why they seem to have this everlasting popularity this decade and the last decade, and why that's perhaps rubbing the likes of your Spielbergs up the wrong way because they can't get their heads around it. He's perfectly summed it up there. It's the faith that the fan base has in the characters. It's this steady hand in their life. People who grew up reading the comics, people who maybe grew up playing the video games, who watched the Raimi movies, who watched the Tim Burton movies, hell, who watched the Adam West sort of things back in the 50s, 60s. It's a comfortable slipper they slide into if you like in their life. And when there's uncertainty in the world, when you've got your Vladimir Putin's invading and trying to recreate the events of early World War II over in Ukraine. Yes, I just says Ukraine because that's what I hear. I don't say Ukraine. I hear Ukraine because I mind watching the Euros and that's what the Ukraine fans were singing. When you've got this nonsense going on, you've got a pandemic, people just want to slip in to escapism, and what better way to do that with a character you love? Personally, for me, Batman is my favourite DC character because he's relatable. He's a troubled human being, as we all are on some level, and just the concept of this double identity and the more menacing, the more unleashed vigilante identity being closer to the sort of hubristic philanthropist sort of playboy billionaire one. I love that concept of that character. That's why I connected with Arrow in the early seasons as well, Oliver Queen. I love it when they do that. They do the dual personalities in comic books. I love the character. I connect with it, and he's absolutely right in what he says there. It's just, you know what you're getting with these movies if they work. You know they're taking you to a place where you're going to be happy, and that's why people connect with comic book movies. That's why they're everlastingly popular, unless it's something absolutely fucking trash. Which, off the top of my head, maybe Justice League, Joss Whedon's movie aside, I don't think we've had in a long time. Batman is my favourite DC and Spider-Man is my favourite Marvel. Well, you're very much singing from the same hymn sheet. I can't even speak that. That wasn't English. The same hymn sheet as me. I always struggle with that. Hymn sheet as me, Gary, because Batman's my favourite and Spider-Man is my favourite Marvel as well. Despite having the shield, I always say you can't really have a life-size Spider-Man suit behind you. It'd just be fucking weird. And I'm not in the shape to get into a Spider-Man suit, nor would I be inclined to do it, because it is Glasgow and it is February. It's freezing, and you'd probably get stabbed if you went out the house with a Spider-Man suit on here. But if I could find a way to get a prop in, maybe a sort of, don't know, a head or something, and put the fucking the sort of mask on, I'd do it. Out with DC and Marvel, my favourite's Kick-Ass, me too. Good Scottish creator. Created those scripts, the comics. I can't remember. Stephen knows the comics. Maybe you know them as well, Gary. But Kick-Ass is, I'm pretty sure, a Scottish creation from a Scottish mind, and a great character. Again, it doesn't take itself serious. That's what comics are all about. At the end of the day, you can get your artsy, sort of antsy-pantsy, artsy, fancy-pants fucking movies, your French movies and stuff like that, from, I'm sure, renowned filmmakers. But for me, I like to have a bit of popcorn and just rattle that drink and sit and watch a comic book movie at times. That's what you need. You need that itch scratched, and then you can have your drama and your serious sort of mental breakdowns at some other point, watching the likes of The Father and things like that. They all have their place. I'm going to stay in the world of comic books here. I am gibbering, and it's fucking dangerous when you start gibbering away on your lonesome. That's a rabbit hole you can't get out of. Mark Millar. That is the one. Mark Millar. He's Scottish. I'm pretty fucking sure he is. Us Scots are the best. We produce so much. It's a fucking great country. We really have produced a fuck ton. For a country of 6 million to have that impact on the world, it's impressive. And that's why all of those naysayers that can't understand us are wrong. We're the best. Anyway, I digress. Slippery slope that when you start saying you're the best. You're one step away from National Socialism, and I don't like that. As you can probably see, there's a poster. I don't know if you've seen it, but I have got a poster. No fascism, no racism, no sexism. So you need to be watching when you're into that independence malarkey. Hey, there's Vladimir. Vladimir's everywhere just now. But we're not speaking about Vladimir and his deranged ramblings. We are speaking about Thor Love and Thunder. And as I've says, the toys revealing some nifty new details for this upcoming movie. Again, a movie not far away, just a few months away now. And it's Taika Waititi, and it's Chris Hemsworth, it's Natalie Portman, and it's Peter Dinklage. It looks as though he is confirmed. Peter is going to be returning. He's confirmed it. Do you do all this on your own, John? You should have more subs. I don't do it all on my own. Stephen is usually here with me. We do watch-alongs and stuff like that, reactions. He's in the room doing it with me. I do even when we're doing live shows, I produce everything. So I'm in control of the OBS. I'm doing all the scene changes and shit like that. But it's very simple, man. Really. I could bum myself up as some sort of borderline genius, but really I'm just pressing a couple of buttons and talking a load of shite. But yeah, I agree, we do deserve more subs. Everyone deserves more subs. But we're Scottish, and that's kind of the sort of drawback. No one can understand this. And at times I do talk a load of fucking shite, admittedly. But as you can see, it's these toys here. That's not what I'm looking at. Although it's always nice to see Natalie in a dress. That's not what we're looking at here, though. And of course, Chris in a tank top, for if that floats your boat. I'm here for the actual toys and what this means for the movies and the little tangent I'm going to go off on when I speak about Gore the God Butcher or Slayer, whatever he is. I think it's Butcher. As you can see here, these are the toys that I'm speaking about. And these are the details that have been unveiled. First and foremost, Korg is looking fucking fantabulous. He seems to have a borderline Viking fur, sort of Borg get up going on. Korg in a movie is always a great thing. Taika Waititi lending his Antipodean voice, his accent to this character. Just the hilarity that ensues with this character. It gives him an outlet for all the craziness. He just feeds it into this character. I'm so glad to see that character's back. Love it. You've got a really dark situation before in Endgame. He's in the gutter. He's in a real bad place. And this guy just lightens the tone right away. He's fat, he's drinking beer, nothing wrong with that. And he lightens the tone by saying, "For the bullying me again." I love this character, I'm glad to see it's back. Gave me one of the fucking most hilarious moments in a theatre at the end of Ragnarok, when he says at least there's still something there to rebuild a civilization out of, the planet impodes, or the Asgard impodes. And he's like, oh well then. Just a great character. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. As you can see, you've got a Lego set, looks very much like Viking. Again, you've got the Viking ship. Ragnarok, yeah. It's kind of like that. Ragnarok. What do you call those fucking things? Valhalla? I don't know what the ships are called. I'm off a Viking stock, but I'm not fucking Viking. I'm too modern for that. But anyway, I digress. Thor is wearing blue. That's kind of what I'm here for. And the fucking cool costume of the mighty Thor, obviously. Jane, she's there. She's got her helmet. She's looking fine and dandy. But I'm really here for Thor. Thor is wearing a blue outfit, and I don't know how to feel about it. Because I don't know if you've noticed, I'm wearing green, and I'm not so petty as to get into all of that football shit and colours. I actually, blue's, aquamarine's probably my favourite colour. But it's weird seeing Thor with blue. I'm so used to seeing him with the silver and the red, and I don't know how to think about this sort of blue gold get up. I'm sure it'll look much better when it's not in a 6 or 8 inch or an 8 inch sort of doll toy. I'm sure it'll look better in the movie, but it looks weird seeing Thor in blue. That's the first take I've got there. It looks quite, I don't know, 1980s WWF. I could picture maybe Macho Man Randy Savage or something like that kicking about with that get up on, and it's weird. And I've seen him with a sort of fucking Freddie Mercury white tank top get up with the stonewashed jeans. Very 80s inspired. That seems to be the thing just now. Don't know what to make about that, but that looks fucking cool. And we'll get into the Lego set. There's a Lego set there. Why is that important? Because this little fucker here, Gore the God Butcher, not looking at all like what he does in the comics. He's like a big purpley sort of bluish guy. But see that little black thing he's got there? I'm going to get into that right fucking now, and we're going to zoom that in, because unless you are going to get an eye test, there is absolutely no need for that writing to ever be that small. Never. As you can see here, he's clutching a little sword. And that sword has links straight to Venom, to the symbiotic alien. It's a similar get-up. It almost melds itself to his arm. And it becomes one with him. And again, this just I find this interesting as we are connecting multiple things here, but we've got multiverse concepts going on. We've already seen Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock in this universe in that post-credit scene. I'm so intrigued to see if we're going to see more of this character here in this universe. When we're going to see it, will it be Multiverse of Madness? Will he even come back, period? Will he continue doing his thing in the Sonyverse? The fact that we are now establishing symbiotic alien stuff with this character intrigues me quite a bit. And I just like that fucking Lego set as well. Incidentally, I'm a big fan of Lego, so I may buy that. But needless to say, man, Christian Bale in this movie, I don't feel like this has been getting spoke about enough. Motherfucking Christian Bale in a Marvel movie. Is this the first time he's done a comic book movie since The Dark Knight Rises 10 years ago? Going back to that, I think it may be. He's been doing a lot of drama stuff. The last movie I remember him in was probably Ford v Ferrari with Matt Damon, and that was fucking tremendous. This guy, I love this actor. He's one of my all-time favourites, man. I love the performances he imbues into every character that he tackles. He's always 100%, high octane, right into it, borderline method. Not borderline, he went down to a skeleton for The Machinist. Seeing this guy taking that passion, that acting ability, and then bringing that to the Marvel Universe, this is what we need, man. We need to see calibre of actors like this. You could argue we got it with Eternals. I've still not seen Eternals, incidentally. I heard it was a disaster and it put me off. You kind of seen it with that. You had Angelina Jolie, you had, was it Penelope Cruz? I always fuck it. It was, wasn't it? Was it Salma Hayek? Not seen it. But I always get those names mixed up. I don't know why. They don't look like each other. Penelope's much better looking. But needless to say, we've seen some big acting talent there, but this guy's another level for me. To your Richard Maddens, to your Camille Nanjiani's, to your Angelina Jolie's. Seeing a guy of that calibre coming into a Marvel movie excites me tremendously. I just want to see that kind of talent plying their trade as a villain in these universes. That's what I want to see. Just to get it up the likes of Spielberg, to get it up your Coppolas, who think they have a monopoly on great actors and on art and on film. But needlessly, I'm just excited for the movie. I'm a huge fan of Taika Waititi, and I cannot wait to see what we're going to get here. It's an 80s inspired movie. The concept of Love and Thunder, what they did in the comics with her having cancer, she could be healed if she gave up her power, but she was reliant to do it. And just that tragedy, how that's going to impact on Thor, who's already fragile anyway after the events of Endgame and obviously the Infinity War. I presume he's going to be lean and mean in this. It's going to be interesting. I just can't wait to fucking see it. And Peter Dinklage, didn't you speak about Peter? But you can't quite get enough of Peter. Peter's almost like my dad. I always say it. He looks like my dad. My dad's also not a dwarf, but kind of, and he doesn't have the head shape of Peter, but he's kind of looks like him, and it's weird, like a young version of my dad. So I kind of get weird vibes when I watch Peter, but at the same time, I love him as an actor. I didn't grow up watching Game of Thrones. I watched Game of Thrones, and I kind of evolved watching this guy's acting on the small screen, if you like. I didn't grow up. I always say this on these shows. I say it in reactions as well. I grew up with this guy. I did not grow up with Peter Dinklage. I am 33 years of age. I would have been about 23 when Game of Thrones first came out. My dog's scratching the carpet. He's wanted to get at me and slap me about for that comment I made. Regardless though, moving on. Fantastic Beasts 3 trailer. As you can see, I'm not going to linger on this too long, because to be quite frank, it's short and sweet. This is a filler topic in a sense. It's dropping on Thursday. If you're interested in it, there's a whole host of Harry Potter fans who are not interested in Fantastic Beasts. Probably first and foremost because the first two have been average to good. First one maybe good, second one average, and they've lost interest with what they're doing here. Maybe because of the whole Johnny Depp thing, the controversy over him and Amber Heard. I personally side with Johnny had I kept him in the role, but that's me. And then obviously the whole fucking furore over J.K. Rowling's comments in recent years, her apparent lack of empathy for the whole trans question, has put a lot of Harry Potter fans off. They're baying for blood for J.K. They're baying for blood for anything she's producing now. So there's a lot of people who don't care about this. Personally, I didn't mind the first one, as I says. I thought it was quite good. It was funny in parts. The Kowalski character was okay. Eddie Redmayne's always solid in these movies. Just can't sing for shit. Anyone that's watched Les Miserables, if that's how you say it, won't attest to that. He can't sing for fucking shit. But I'm a Harry Potter fan, man. I did grow up watching these and reading these books. I'm invested in this world, and I find it interesting going back and delving into a younger Dumbledore, the sort of relationship he had with the enigmatic Grindelwald, looking into the history of this universe, looking into the first major wizarding war, if indeed this is the first major wizarding war. It's one of the wizarding wars anyway. Try saying that 3 times without fucking it up. Wizarding war. So I'm intrigued, and I'm intrigued to see where they're going with this trailer. And it's going to be more Jude Law heavy, and that's always a Brucey bonus. Jude Law, interesting fact, used to drink in a pub round from where Stephen used to work in Glasgow. Bizarrely, he used to be seen floating about Charing Cross in Glasgow. He's a good guy. I like Jude Law, a great actor. And I liked his take on this youthful Dumbledore, because of course anyone that's a fan of Harry Potter will know when we first met him in the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone, depending on where you're from, he was a very, very old man. Richard Harris was borderline 1 foot in the coffin. Well, I mean, he died after the second movie, so he was like 2 feet in the coffin, really. He was a very fucking old man. He was decrepit. He was gentle and kindly, but he had a white, long-ass beard. This guy is a lot fucking younger, and it's so interesting to see these characters in their pomp. In terms of the trailer, I don't know what to expect from this movie, man. I really don't. It was tumultuous behind the scenes. Obviously, they had to recast Grindelwald. We've got the great Mads Mikkelsen coming in lieu of Johnny Depp, who was basically mutually consented out of the movie because of claims and a ridiculous defamation case with his son over here. So I don't know how it's going to work out. I think Mads is perfectly capable of sliding in. I think he's every bit as good an actor as Johnny, probably better, realistically, than Johnny. So I don't think it's from that viewpoint. It's just what that's done, the difference in tone, the difference in take. How will that affect other actors? How will it affect the production? What was the mood? Will that impact on this movie? Is the movie any fucking good? I suppose we will get the first inklings of that on Thursday when the trailer drops. I'm excited to see the trailer. I want this movie to succeed. I want this universe to pop. I want to like it. Whether I do like it though, another thing entirely. I was going to speak about this, man. I don't think I'm going to bother, because I don't really give a shit about the posters. The posters, they look alright. Don't get me wrong, I'll look through them. They look alright. But they're just generic character posters. We kind of get this with the Lord of the Rings Amazon thing a couple of weeks back, but it was hands and bizarrely sort of midriff of characters. And Robert Meyer Burnett from John Campea funnily says, or was it Robert or was it Ray? I can't remember. I love watching that show, incidentally. Huge inspiration to us and what we do here. Did say some sort of quip like, I think they Peter Dinklage taking the photos of it, because it was a very small man. You know what I mean? Looking at the midriff. Small man. Get the joke? Haha. Some of my part tonight's been terrible. I'm letting Glasgow down here, by the way. Big time. I'm usually better than this. But look, the posters, man. The posters are there. Look, this is all the famous characters are coming back again. Some of them not so famous. Some of them I don't fucking know. I'm not going to lie. But I'm just going to keep clicking until we get to Ezra Miller, because to be quite frank with you, and of course, Mads is always looking dapper. Disappointed he's not got the bleach white hair though, because that was something that I associated with that character after Depp's performance, and I feel like it would have just been that little bit of continuity to allow him to have the white hair for at least one movie, and then he can change it to his heart's content after. But look at this motherfucker. Look at this. This guy looks like something out of fucking Wayne's World, and he still manages to pull off looking brooding and moody and eccentric, but he looks like Mike Myers from Wayne's World. That haircut is fucking ridiculous, but he's a great actor. But again, how's he still got a job when he was literally choking somebody out in a pub and Johnny's been booted? I'm going to go to this guy just purely because, Stephen, if you're in the chat, you'll attest that we go to the football a lot, Stephen, and there's a guy sits next to me at the football, the end of the row. This is fucking this guy that sits next to me, man. This guy is the fucking double of the boy that sits next to me at the end of the row, man. It is fucking scary. Stephen, are you in this chat? Can you attest to, you know who I'm talking about, don't you? This motherfucker is the spit of the guy who goes to the football with us, man. And I just had to get it out of my system. I'm like, this motherfucker moonlighting as a Hollywood actor, and then rocking up to the East End of Glasgow by day. It's really, really weird. But anyway, I digress. On that note, I'm going to move on to this. Not this. Fucking hell. To this. Do I go to this? Do I want to talk about this? I was half-hearted in my desire to talk about this, man. Do I really want to touch on Boba Fett again, because we did react to it, and it was over the course of 6-7 weeks, and we rated it and we spoke about it in depth. But it was an opinion piece here from someone over at Screen Rant on why they think the Book of Boba Fett's Rotten Tomato score was worse than The Mandalorian. I could answer this very short and sweet. The Book of Boba Fett's Rotten Tomato score is lower than The Mandalorian's because it's a worse TV show, pound for pound, episode for episode. It is worse than The Mandalorian. It's not as compelling a story. Jon Favreau isn't the sort of overseeing creative force. It's Robert Rodriguez, and as good as he is, it didn't quite work for me as well as The Mandalorian. I just don't think Boba Fett is compelling a character as Din Djarin, The Mandalorian. So that's for me why it has got a Rotten Tomato score that is lower than The Mando, because it's an inferior product. We don't really have to delve deep into it. We don't have to speak about what the creative choices they made, the whole backstory with the Sand People, which personally I quite enjoyed. We don't have to delve into the decision to give a whole episode over to The Mandalorian. It's almost like this is what you could have. We don't have to speak about Luke being in there and overshadowing Boba Fett, and then us having to get back to that character for the finale and feeling a little bit whelmed at it. Not even underwhelmed, not overwhelmed, whelmed. Neither over or under. We don't have to speak about that. It's just it was an inferior show to the 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. That's not to say it was bad. I rated it 7 out of 10. I quite liked it. But there was elements of it that were frankly fucking shite. And as I argued with someone in I replied once, Stephen argued with him in the comments. He didn't like my critiques. He worked in the industry apparently. I don't really give a fuck whether you work in the industry or not. I'm a fan of film and TV. I've been watching it my entire life and I know enough about it, perhaps more than him, judging on his comments, to critique it and see what I'm saying, see whether it's shite or not and it's good. I can see what's good and what's bad. That's what I'm saying. And even within an episode I can see what's good, what's bad, what's working, what's not, and I'm free to say what I want. It's a fucking channel after all. For me, they did make some mistakes in this TV show. Introducing Luke, it was a great move for me. I liked watching the character, but once you've had Luke in your presence, even for 30 minutes of an episode and a 7-hour show, you're done with the Boba Fett character after that. You don't want him. You want to spend more time with Grogu and Luke. You want to spend time with Ahsoka Tano. I liked it, personally. I can understand why people didn't like it as much. I can understand why they rated it lower. So that's for me. I don't even know why I touched on this, man. We already spoke about this. It's a worse fucking show than Mandalorian. Plain and simple. Moving on to this finale. This final topic of the show tonight. And just surfing through potential news articles to maybe touch on something that catch my fancy. Catch my fancy caught, I don't know. It's late. Not late for me. There's no excuses. I go to my bed at like 3-4 in the morning. It's fucking early for me. Just can't speak English tonight. And this one caught my fancy. And I'm going to use caught. It's this. It's the trio of Robert Zemeckis, Eric Roth and Tom Hanks collabing once again, and they say it's the Forrest Gump trio. And they're collabing to adapt a graphic novel that goes by the name of Here. Now, I wasn't aware of this graphic novel up until 2-3 years ago. But I have to tell you, man, what an interesting concept this novel is. Just a fascinating look into eternalism. I'm going to use eternalism. I'm going to go into it. So you may want to walk away now if you don't want to get bored to fucking tears with this. But I'm fascinated with this concept this graphic novel touches upon. The concept of the past, the present and the future. In a sense, all happening at once. And what the fuck am I talking about? I'll bring this up and see if I can get this to work, man. We'll bring this up. We'll just... I can't even see that. I'm as blind as a fucking bat from here. Open this image up and we'll go and we'll zoom. Can you see this concept? This is the graphic novel. What we're doing here, 1970. This is a room. This is a space on Earth. This is what this novel does. It's the concept of one room and the multiple people and things that have imprinted their being on that room throughout history. This is what we're doing here. We've got a mammoth in 10,000 BCE. We've got this woman in the same space in 1970. This comic book is so fucking interesting to me. I'm going to look into this. It's a 6-part graphic novel. And I think this is the perfect thing for this guy in particular in the middle to be touching upon. Bob Zemeckis already dealt with arguably the greatest time travelling movies that Hollywood has seen ever. Arthur, you're again singing for the same hymn sheet as me. I fucking hated that lad. I detested it. And I knew it was Bob Zemeckis, and there was people who I respected who says they loved that movie, and I could not fathom for the life of me what the fuck they were talking about. The dialogue was wooden as fuck for me. It lacked life. And you've got Marion Cotillard in there, you've got Brad Pitt in there. They should work. They're great actors. They've got great presence. They're two very good looking human beings. The story should have worked. It was a kind of love story in the middle of war and how it all played out. There was spy stuff going on there. It should have worked. I love World War II, man. I'm fucking obsessed with it. But there was one line I always remember. They just completed some sort of vigilante operation against the Nazis in Madagascar or something like that. And the Brad Pitt character said to Marion Cotillard's character, "Come with me to London and marry me." And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this, man? I was laughing at it. It was fucking terrible. But yeah, I love Zemeckis as well. And I think this is the perfect thing for this guy to touch upon. This concept of time. Eternalism. I was literally just watching a video the other day on YouTube about this. The concept of what has been, what is to come, and what is currently happening, all sharing the same space, but we can't really experience the other two, because obviously it's been and it's still to come, but it's there. And then we see this getting adapted. It was almost like it was calling to me. I'm like, fuck me, I was just reading about that. I was just watching a video about that. I'm obsessed with eternalism, this concept. Now we're getting this graphic novel that I've never even heard of getting adapted by these three great men. Who wrote this graphic novel? Someone on a yeah, probably was, yeah. Yeah, it probably was. I think, who the fuck did write it? Richard Maguire. It's probably a Scottish guy again. Richard Maguire. Something about Scotland. Let's search Richard up. Fuck it. Let's do it live on the show. Richard Maguire. Where is Richard from? I can't read that, man. He's from New Jersey. He may be a Scottish expat. We're a crazy bunch of bastards, us Scotsmen. Crazy bunch of bastards. Boba series is really just planting seeds for the other stories. That's exactly true, Gary. That is exactly true. We got that at the end. It wasn't very subtle, was it? We had Chrysanthemum standing with these fucking Gimp mod characters. Boba and... I forgot her name already. What is her name? The sidekick. They were all standing, and then obviously Mando's away with Grogu. I mean, it's like, yeah, we're interconnecting all these different TV shows. We're expanding this TV universe. I personally fucking like that. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I've already said on here that I want TV to be the primary medium moving forward for Star Wars. So I'm excited about it, and I'm also excited about this. This should be very fucking good if it works, man. It's a 1989, incidentally. It's so fucking lining, man. That's the year I was born, 1989. It's a 6-page comic strip about something I'm very intrigued by. I'm going to look into this comic strip. I may feel like I've been on a fucking permo after it. I usually do feel like I've been on a fucking permo anyway, because I usually am on a fucking permo. Let's be honest here. But look, I'm going to round the show up, man. Fucking dangerous spot for me to be in. When I've went off piste, I've got nothing else to talk about. In terms of the topics, I've not got my fucking comfort blanket, and I start drifting into the emptiness in my mind. I'm going to round it up. What is your thoughts on the topics I touched upon this show tonight? What do you make about Matt Reeves coming out and saying he's going to have a little nap, a siesta, a break between the Batman and its sequel, potentially, soon to be, maybe not, depending on how the movie does. If you get anything to say about that, you can comment below if you get anything to say at all. You can also share your thoughts on Thor Love and Thunder and that weird blue Thor costume and this borderline what's it eating basement dwelling God the God Butcher variant we're getting, this sort of pale borderline Stephen Merchant and Logan character. You can comment below if you get anything to say about that as well. Any of the topics I've touched on at all, the book of Boba Fett, fucking whatever the fuck else I spoke about, man, Fantastic Beasts, this here graphic novel, the adaptation with Bob Zemeckis, Eric Roth and Tom Hanks. You can comment below if you have anything to say about that. Anything at all, share your thoughts in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs, hit the follow button over on Twitch, and regardless of what you do, thank you once again for watching. Until the next time, I'm done. Bye bye. Thank you very much to everyone that commented. I do appreciate it. It makes the chat, the time flow a little bit quicker. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Danke schön, movie gonk. Danke. Danke, großartig. Much obliged. Shush.